Kelly's knew she had to strike back harder. She refused to let Shanna get away with humiliating her at her job. She spent the next day making calls, gathering information, and planning her next move. That night, she parked a few houses away from Shanna's home, making sure no one saw her. She crept to the side of the house and quickly slashed through the wires of Shanna's security cameras, disabling them. Then she stepped back, took a deep breath, and hurled a rock straight through Shanna's living room window. The sound of shattering glasses echoed in the quiet neighborhood. Satisfied, she turned and sprinted back to her car before anyone could see her. Shanna returned home later that night and felt a sinking feeling in her stomach when she saw her broken window. She rushed inside, heart pounding. She checked for any other damage. The realization hit her like a freight train. Kelly's had taken things to a dangerous new level. This wasn't just petty revenge anymore. It was real, and it was escalating fast. Shanna's hands trembled as she cleaned up the shards of glass. She knew she couldn't let Kelly's get away with this. But she also realized something else. This war had consumed her life. Yet, as she tried to convince herself to walk away, the anger in her chest burned too brightly. She wasn't done yet. Kamal sat back, enjoying the chaos he had created. He loved knowing that two women were battling over him, both desperate for his attention. He never planned on choosing between them. He loved the thrill of the game. However, his friend Ozay had had enough. Ozay had been watching everything unfold, and it made him sick. He hated how Kamal manipulated women, playing them against each other, while keeping his real life hidden. One evening after a few drinks, Ozay finally spoke up. "You're a damn coward, Kamal. You're letting them destroy each other over you while you sit here laughing. What happens when one of them takes it too far?" Kamal smirked, unfazed by Ozay's concerns. "Relax, man. They're just having fun. They'll get over it." "You think this is fun?" Ozay shot back. "You have a wife, Kamal. A whole wife in another city. What do you think will happen when she finds out about all of this? You're playing with fire, and it's only a matter of time before you get burned." Kamal scoffed, waving him off. But deep down, Ozay's words lingered. He knew his secret wouldn't stay hidden forever, and when it came out, all hell would break loose. Everything came to a head the following year when Kamal's wife planned a lavish surprise birthday party for him. She entrusted Ozay with the preparations, and he saw an opportunity to end the madness. He sent anonymous invitations via text messages to both Shanna and Kelly's, instructing them to keep the party a secret from Kamal. Shanna checked her phone and furrowed her brows. A message from an unknown number flashed across the screen. "Surprise party for Kamal. Arrive at 7:30 p.m. Don't tell Kamal." At the same time, Kelly's received an identical message. She hesitated, feeling uneasy. Something about this invitation didn't sit right with her. She had been keeping a secret from Kamal and wanted to share it with him at the right moment. The party would be the perfect place to break the news to him, and she decided to go. Kamal was completely unaware of what was being plotted behind his back. His personal life was a tangled mess. Lately, he felt uneasy, as if someone was watching him. Maybe it was just paranoia, or maybe it was the weight of his own secrets threatening to crush him. Meanwhile, Eleanor was at the boutique, picking out the perfect suit for Kamal. She wanted everything to be flawless. She had no idea that her husband's best friend was orchestrating more than just a birthday party. In Jose's mind, this night would be one Kamal would never forget, and not for the reasons Eleanor expected. On the day of the party, Jose stood in the middle of the banquet hall, surveying the decorations being put up. Gold and black balloons floated towards the ceiling, while elegant tablecloth draped across the long table adorned with fine china. It was going to be the grandest party Kamal had ever seen, and the best part, he had no clue. Kamal's wife, Eleanor, had entrusted Jose with planning the entire event, and he was not about to let her down. However, Jose had his own reasons for being so deeply involved. He cared about his friend very much, but he wasn't happy with the way he was playing with the women's emotions. Kamal had been playing a dangerous game, and it was only a matter of time before everything unraveled. Jose had been silently watching the chaos unfold, and before the night was over, he planned to put an end to it all. The banquet hall filled with guests as laughter and music echoed through the space. Jose made sure every detail was in place. Moments later, Kamal walked through the door to a thunderous surprise. He was indeed surprised, and was very happy to see everyone. The night was about to take a turn no one expected, and Jose braced himself for the storm that was about to erupt. Everyone went back to their seats after greeting the birthday boy, and the lights dimmed as a slideshow of Kamal's past birthdays and friends who were unable to attend the celebration played on a big screen TV. Laughter and applause filled the room as guests admired the pictures of Kamal through the years. Moments later, Shanna arrived at the party. She stood near the DJ booth, gripping a small memory stick in her hand. Her heart raced as she turned to the DJ and whispered, "I have a special video for Kamal." The DJ nodded, took the memory stick, and inserted it into the laptop. Just as the video loaded, Khalees walked in, clutching a wrapped gift. She scanned the room, locking eyes with Shanna, and an unspoken tension filled the air. Kamal, standing near the cake, caught sight of both women at once. His face paled, and his hands trembled as the video began to play. On the screen, Shanna's face appeared beaming as she was lying on a bed in a hospital room. The guests felt silent, intrigued by the sudden shift in the night's entertainment. Then came the unmistakable image of an ultrasound. Gasps rippled through the crowd as Shanna's voice rang out, clear and joyous. "We're pregnant, Kamal!" A collective murmur spread through the party, but before anyone could fully process what had happened, a sharp voice cut through the noise. "Are you crazy?" Khalees shouted, stepping forward. The room turned toward her as she reached for her gift, ripping it open in one swift motion. She held up her own ultrasound results. "Because so am I." The party that had started as a celebration had turned into utter chaos. A heavy silence fell upon the room as Kamal's face drained of all color. His gaze flickered between Shanna and Khalees, his mind scrambling for an explanation. Murmurs of shock spread among the guests, their once cheerful faces now frozen in disbelief. Eleanor, standing near the cake, turned to Kamal with a look of confusion that quickly morphed into realization. Jose, watching from the sidelines, folded his arms and exhaled. This was exactly what he had anticipated. Kamal's recklessness had finally caught up to him, and now, with the truth out in the open, there was no escaping the consequences. The real question was, what would happen next? Eleanor stepped forward, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor. "What is this, Kamal?" she asked, her voice trembling with barely contained fury. Kamal opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. His mind was a jumbled mess of excuses, none of which would be good enough to get him out of this disaster. Eleanor turned to Khalees, eyes blazing. "You knew about me, didn't you?" she accused. Khalees shook her head, tears welling in her eyes. "I had no idea," she whispered. The guests watched in stunned silence, their earlier excitement now replaced with curiosity and unease. Eleanor stood there, her mind racing as she prepared for the confrontation of a lifetime. Kamal finally found his voice, but it was weak, barely above a whisper. "Eleanor, please let me explain," he pleaded. His hands trembled as he reached for his wife, but she recoiled, eyes filled with disloyalty. The weight of his mistakes pressed down on him, and for the first time in a long while, Kamal felt completely helpless. Khalees and Shanna stood on opposite sides of the room, each watching Kamal, their emotions a blend of rage and heartbreak. Ozay, still standing by, shook his head. "There's nothing to explain, Kamal," he said, his tone cold. "You did this to yourself." The guests, sensing the tension reaching to a boiling point, began to quietly slip away, leaving Kamal alone to face the mess he had created. Eleanor grabbed the nearest champagne glass and hurled it against the wall, the shattering sound punctuating her fury. "You humiliated me, Kamal, in front of everyone," she screamed. Khalees flinched, while Shanna crossed her arms, nodding in agreement. Kamal tried to take a step forward, but Eleanor raised a hand, stopping him in his tracks. "I need space," she said, her voice quieter but firm. She turned on her heel and walked out, leaving Kamal standing in the wreckage of what was meant to be his grand celebration. Ozay sighed, placing a hand on Kamal's shoulder. "You better start making things right," he murmured. But Kamal knew some things could never be fixed. Months passed, and the dust began to settle. Kamal had lost Eleanor, who filed for divorce, unwilling to stay in a marriage built on lies. Shanna and Khalees, though furious, decided to co-parent their children without bitterness. Kamal had no choice but to face the consequences of his actions, learning to be present for his children despite the fractured relationships around him. One evening, Kamal sat alone in his apartment, staring at ultrasound pictures of his unborn children. Regret weighed heavily on him, but so did a newfound determination. He could never undo the pain he caused, but he could strive to be a better man. With a deep breath, he picked up his phone and called Ozay. "I need to make things right," he said, and for the first time in a long time, he truly meant it. The moral of the story is actions have consequences, and deceit can shatter even the strongest bonds. True character is revealed not in avoiding mistakes, but in taking responsibility to them. Growth begins when one chooses honesty, accountability, and the courage to change. Hello everyone, thank you for sticking around for part 2 of this bitter battle side chick drama. I really hope you enjoy this story, and I'm so very thankful for each and every one of you. I will see you in the next one. Be blessed.